Hi, my name is Rebecca and welcome to Yarn and Pajamas. Today is day number 7 of Vlogmas. I'm in a new location of my sister's house. Her husband, my brother-in-law, is watching a football game in the living room, and so I decided to come upstairs. So you may hear some ambient noise from yelling at the TV from that. And I also have little Miss Trixie here with me in the floor. So you may hear noises from her. She's going to the water, so she may drink a little bit. But I have day number 7 here of my swap with Summer, and we done an Advent style. So every day we get to open a little gift for 25 days of Christmas. I did kind of go around. You see, she walked by and shook you guys. I did go around and broke open the tape, this super strong industrialized tape that she used. But day number 7 is, oh my goodness, look at that. It's a little candle. Let's pull out the little thing. Oh no. I may have to put a little thing in it. It's not working, but look how cute that's going to be. I'll put a new battery in it. I got some of those batteries that they have at the house because I like to use them in my reusable, like unlit, like fake candles, I guess. So thank you very much, Summer. I really like my little lantern, my holiday lantern. I'm gonna set him in my window, so I smooshed him back down into the box. And I am also going to read us a little story from The Magic of Christmas Miracles. And hopefully I can see a little bit better tonight and read a little better for you guys. So let's take off the glasses and let's open the book. And tonight the story is called, "And a Little Child Shall Lead Them." When you are an elementary school teacher, your classroom becomes your world. This year, a delightful young man and his classmates walked into my world and taught me some very valuable lessons about faith, miracles, and life. Brian is part of a dynamic group of 23 very energetic and very bright second graders. He is eager to learn, has a wonderful sense of humor, and has an uncanny way of seeing what's the bottom line and what's important. He also has an inoperable brain tumor and is blind, although you would never realize his limitation as he joyfully progresses through each day. Brian adores sports and keeps up with what's happening so he can talk with the big guys about baseball, basketball, and football. He is a caring friend to all, and in return, everyone wants him as a partner and as a friend. Recently, I asked the children to write in their journals one wish that they would like to make. I told them to choose one that would be just for them. Brian wrote in Braille that he would like to meet Cal Ripken of the Baltimore Orioles because he is a great baseball player. He is also a nice man who loves children. I want to shake his hand. When we shared our journal entries out loud, the students in my class decided then and there that they would write to Mr. Ripken to persuade him to meet Brian. They reasoned that if he only met Brian once, he would see how special Brian is and how lucky we are to have him in our class. I told them I wasn't sure if Mr. Ripken would respond as he was very busy, but that we would try. We worked all morning, writing, editing, and revising so that each letter said exactly what its author wanted to express. Their very persuasive letters included supporting details such as, Brian is a friend to everyone. He cheers us up when we are down. He used to play baseball when he had his sight, but he is good at soccer and basketball too. And finally, he can sing I Feel Good like James Brown. You really ought to hear him. After the letters were written and lovingly packed in a mailing envelope, Brian hugged me tight and said, Mrs. Myers, I know this wish is going to come true. At that moment, I felt uneasy, lacking great faith. I returned his hug and said, I sure hope so. I couldn't sleep for the next several nights as I thought about the children's eagerness to make the wish come true for their friend and about Brian's wonderful childlike faith. Other adults had already told me, "You'll never hear. Maybe you'll get a form letter or something." Or, "You know how busy those professional athletes are." I began to doubt my decision as the days passed and no reply came. Each morning the children would ask, "Did we hear from Mr. Ripken?" And each day I shook my head, but tried to remain hopeful with their childlike belief that a hero never lets you down. "It takes time, you know," I said. "He's a very busy man." The following Sunday, I sat in church, still thinking about what I had allowed to happen. When the minister asked for prayer concerns, a series of people asked for prayers for sick relatives, for someone suffering grief, and for a baby recently born premature. All of a sudden, and I still don't know why because I am not a public speaker, I raised my hand and stood. "I don't know if we should pray about this concern, but I don't know where else to turn," I said in a voice not my own. I proceeded to tell about Brian, his wish, and the love and concern of his classmates. The church was completely silent as I told of my dilemma. After a brief pause, the minister said that she thought we could offer prayers for the children and Brian. I sat down as we as a church family offered this problem to a higher power. After church, everyone wanted to learn more about this special young man, and everyone was kind but a bit skeptical like me. The week began with little change and with the daily barrage of questions of, "Did you hear?" Then Thursday came, and our school secretary excitedly shared a call that she received from a Mr. Cal Ripken's office. We were to bring Brian at 8:45 a.m. the next day for a private meeting with Cal Ripken. It so happened that a man in my church who heard my plea the previous Sunday played basketball with Cal Ripken's agent. Touched by Brian's story, he had been able to work out a meeting for him. 6 days before Christmas found us sitting in Mr. Ripken's conference room. As we waited, Brian said he thought he might ask Cal what he did in the off-season. We nervously joked while Mr. Ripken's assistant went to see if the big guy was here. Within minutes, Cal Ripken Jr. stood towering over Brian and gave him a warm, hearty handshake and a welcome. He sat down on the floor next to Brian and allowed Brian to see how tall he was and what his hair and face looked like. So he felt of him. We talked about Christmas plans, families, sports, and growing up. Cal did not rush us at all and presented Brian with an autographed hat and t-shirt. Brian's brothers and my daughter were recipients of these treasures too. Mr. Ripken watched with great enjoyment while Brian sang and danced to "I Feel Good." He even wrote on the baseball he autographed to Brian, "Teach me how to do that James Brown thing, Cal Ripken Jr." Not to forget our class, I had brought along copies of their letters to show Cal how much Brian meant to them. Cal was deeply touched. He gave us a copy of his children's book, Count Me In, and autographed it with a personal message to our class. Cal spun Brian around on his lap in his conference chair, and they both laughed out loud. After many photographs and about an hour, it was time to go. Brian hugged Mr. Ripken, and he returned the hug, saying, "Hug me as tight as you can. That's what I tell my kids." And for a long moment, a little boy and his hero embraced in a heartfelt hug. I tell this story because so much negative is written about sports heroes in schools today. Here is a prime example of what's right about both. Mr. Ripken had nothing to gain from meeting Brian, yet he gave freely of his precious time to a special young man whose time on earth is also precious. As Brian's teacher, I wanted others to know that a few superheroes do exist and that they can be positive role models in all aspects of their lives. My heartfelt gratitude goes out to 22 caring young people who taught me that childlike faith can make miracles happen, even when big people are skeptical, into one wonderful young man who teaches me daily that you don't need eyes to see what is really important in life. This was submitted by Deborah Taylor Myers at Randallstown, Maryland. Oh my God, guys, I like had to fight back tears like at several points of that because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't read while I'm crying. That was such a good story. Oh my goodness. I have no clue who Cal Ripken Jr. is. I don't follow sports at all, but I think that it's so special that he took his time out. And what I find to be like really miraculous about the whole thing is not him meeting the Brian and spending his time with Brian, but the fact that like God touched on the teacher's heart to speak up at church, because if she had never spoken up at church and told of that dilemma, then things never would have escalated. So that was his way of showing those children's faith. Like, I mean, God works in all those small special ways, and it's just, it really shows in that story. So what do you guys think about tonight's story? Let me know down in the comments below. It was another one of those happy little tear jerker ones. Okay, guys, I'm going to go for tonight, but I will see you guys again tomorrow in day number 8 of Vlogmas. Bye.